Our top stories tonight. President Jacob Zuma calls on Christians to pray for government leaders to govern well and behave appropriately in office. Questions are raised over household security after an alleged intruder is killed by dogs in Cape Town. This is eNEWS Direct. Good evening. You can comment on any of our stories by following us on Facebook and Twitter at eNEWS Direct, or you can check our content on our website, enta.com/direct. President Jacob Zuma has called on Christians to pray for the country's leaders. He addressed thousands of members of the Universal Church of the Kingdom of God today at the Ellis Park Stadium in Johannesburg.
President Jacob Zuma arrived to applause and cheers as he walked around the stadium during the Good Friday service. He says the country is faced with crime and drug abuse and prayers are needed. He also called on congregants to pray for MPs.
Sifuna nisithandazeleke thina esingabaphathi bezwe njengoba incwadi yenkolo iBhayibheli isho njalo. Uma senza amaphutha nisikhulekele kuNkulunkulu ukuthi singawenza amaphutha. Ngoba niyazi nani ukuthi uSathane uhlala ekhona ngaso sonke isikhathi efuna ukusonisa othandweni lwethu lukaNkulunkulu. Sizocela imthandazo kunina nithandazele nale yandlu ebalulekile iParliament lapho khona kwenziwa khona imithetho ukuthi sikwazi ukuziphatha kahle ngenhlonipho nokuhloniphana. Nithandazele nohulumeni ukuthi aliphathe kahle izwe ngentando kaNkulunkulu nangentando yenu.
Those attending the service say politicians need to do more to improve the lives of South Africans.
Under this current leadership, we are failing in so many other things in this country. Education, for one, we ranked one of the worst, and then unemployment.
The government must do something about the schools. Our schools, there are no people who are cleaning the classrooms. I'm one of them that are volunteering at one school, and the teacher is paying out of her pocket.
The president says while South Africa faces many challenges, divine intervention is needed to help the country. John Bailey, Johannesburg.
DA leader Mmusi Maimane also attended a church service this Good Friday. He went to the Faithways Bible Church in Soweto to talk about the church's influence on politics.
Charismatic and well-spoken. These are essential qualities needed by a leader ahead of local government elections. DA leader Mmusi Maimane and several other politicians headed to church this morning. He says he believes that religion does have a place in politics.
But on this day, he says railing supporters was the farthest thing from his mind.
I come from a church background, so I was always involved, much less so now, in fact, not focused really on leading the political party. And so I feel that it's within that context that I come from. So today I would have been in church ordinarily.
Maimane says although the country is going through tough times, South Africans should remain hopeful.
It doesn't matter what we are going through right now as a country, as a nation, as a family, as individuals. Because he lives, we can face tomorrow. You see, for me, Easter is about hope, not about death.
Some church members were inspired by his words.
I think overall the message was timely, the message was powerful, and this is the message for the whole of South Africa. And we have lost hope in quite a number of things.
I think that it really touched us, especially the youth, because I mean he is a political figure, a public figure, and someone that we actually look up to.
Maimane was also very vocal about racism in the country and has encouraged everyone to stand up against it. Lindwe Sithole, Soweto.
Cape Town police have opened an inquest docket after a suspected burglar was mauled and killed by 2 pit bulls. The incident earlier this week was filmed and is being shared on social media. Police are not bringing any charges against the dog's owner, a move applauded by community safety groups arguing the animals were only protecting their owners from intruders. A warning. Viewers may find some of these visuals disturbing.
Two pit bulls attacked a suspected intruder. They're relentless and don't let go. Bystanders, too afraid to enter the property, throw bricks at the animals to try and loosen their grip. Later, police officers arrive. They fire 2 shots, killing one of the dogs. Police say the victim, Wayne Keister, later died in hospital. The dog's owner does not want to be identified or be interviewed, but has told ENCA that his dogs were not trained to kill, but to protect his property while he was not at home. The local community policing forum says it's disturbed that a life was cut short, but doesn't blame homeowners for protecting their properties from criminals.
Dogs are a deterrent. They're a watchdog. They give warnings, they alert you that there are people around your property, but at the same time they are also, in some cases, trained to protect the owner and to defend that particular property.
But the victim's family wants answers. They say claims that he was a criminal are false and want police to investigate the circumstances of his death. They dispute claims that Keister had planned to break into the house.
He doesn't even have a criminal record at the point, and they don't have proof to say that he wanted to go steal there because they didn't get anything on him.
The SPCA says there's no indication that the animals were raised to be violent. To them, the owner trained them responsibly. The dog owner says he's meeting with his lawyers to protect his rights. Police say they won't be commenting on the matter until an inquest into the incident has been completed. Lester Kivitz, Cape Town.
While some parts of the country have had heavy rainfall in the past few weeks, the drought has worsened for farmers in the Bultfontein area in the Free State. The area had no rainfall in the last 3 months of 2015 and less than 60 millimeters in 2016. That's less than a quarter of the average rainfall for the region. The farmers now face the upcoming winter months with no fodder for their livestock.
This region traditionally produces most of the country's white maize supply. But while the Eastern Free State has received some rain, the drought has become crippling here in the west. A big problem here in the Free State is that the rainfall is erratic and it falls in patches. One farmer, for instance, will get good rain but his neighbour only a few drops. Or on the same farm, one maize land will get rain while another gets nothing. Nikki de Villiers runs a mixed farming business, cattle, sheep and maize. Due to the drought, he has had to sell half of his livestock and the maize isn't growing.
Normaalweg sou hulle nou al in die saad gewees het. Regtig waar baie hoër is wat ons nou is.
Usually they would have produced corn at this stage. It would have been much bigger plants. But as you can see, it's not even knee height. Conditions look very bad for the winter ahead, and that's what we are most worried about, because we planted this corn to feed our animals, but now there's nothing.
We will see the impact on the prices first, and then the possibility that the shortage of food will be imminent in the months to come. And this is how it's going to affect everybody in the country.
Free State Agriculture says even if the next rainy season is a good one, these farmers will only have an income again in 2 years' time. And food prices will continue to skyrocket. Daniela van Heerden, Bultfontein in the Free State.
The Western Cape Department of Transport and Public Works is pulling out all the stops to get motorists to buckle up. It's launched a new advert which graphically depicts a car crash involving 4 youths in Cape Town. It forms part of the department's latest attempts to reduce road carnage during this Easter period.
It's a road safety campaign called First Kiss. 4 youths embark on what begins as a jovial and romantic car journey. But it's not long before disaster strikes and the occupants pay a horrific price for not buckling up. The graphic advert is part of the Western Cape Department of Transport and Public Works efforts to get motorists to wear a seatbelt. It's hoped that these shock tactics will help to reduce road carnage on the province's roads.
Buckling up will save your life. Up to 80% chance of reduced injury if you are buckled up. And again, the stats are converse if you aren't buckled up. So we hope that a lot of people will take this message to heart as they travel to their various destinations.
The ad campaign has been flighted on TV and radio stations throughout the country, but it's attracted its fair share of controversy. Some viewers have complained that it's too graphic, while others believe it will shock South Africans into complying. This is a sentiment the Transport Department shares.
So this is as very close to reality as humanly possible. So I understand shock tactics to be an extreme circumstance, and this is not the extreme at all, unfortunately. This is very much the everyday reality on our roads.
Dube says the department is confident its campaign will yield positive results. It's calling on all travellers to fasten their seatbelts and travel safely on the roads during this Easter period to avoid becoming another road death statistic. Bonga Dlulane, Cape Town.
On to world news now. 7 people have been arrested in Brussels as the investigation continues into the attacks that claimed 31 lives in the Belgian capital on Tuesday. The suspect in the latest arrest was reportedly shot and wounded after refusing to obey police orders. 3 arrests of terrorist suspects were also made in France and Germany. The Brussels bombings have been linked to the November Paris attacks that killed 130 people. North Korea's state media has released photographs of a live-fire artillery drill simulating an attack on South Korea's presidential and government office. The exercise was overseen by North's leader Kim Jong-un. It's the latest in a series of provocative gestures by Pyongyang after the imposition of new sanctions by the United Nations and annual joint military drills by the US and South Korea. Seoul has ordered its army to be on alert. And former Bosnian Serb leader Radovan Karadzic has been sentenced to 40 years in jail after his conviction on genocide and war crimes. UN judges at The Hague found him guilty of 10 of 11 charges, including genocide over the 1995 Srebrenica massacre during the Bosnian War. The massacre saw more than 7,000 Bosnian Muslim men and boys killed by the Bosnian Serb forces. For these stories and more, you can go to enca.com/direct or follow us on Twitter and Facebook at eNEWS Direct. After the break, the Rolling Stones follow in Barack Obama's footsteps with a historic visit to Cuba and the promise of a free concert. There's a big night ahead for Havana. One of the world's most iconic bands is set to perform a free once-off concert in the Cuban capital.
Just days after the US president's historic visit to Cuba, another arrival that any rock and roll fan would agree is just as groundbreaking. The Rolling Stones made landfall in Havana in what's being seen as the latest sign of their thaw in Cuba's relations with the West. Until 15 years ago, Western rock and pop music had been banned in the communist country under Fidel Castro. And Mick and the boys are ready to make the most of the new dispensation.
Time changes everything. They haven't had any
treading
really
new ground.
Big shows before, and no, they haven't had any big shows before, and it would have been surprising, say, 10 years ago for this to happen.
The band also quipped that Barack Obama had served as a great frontman for them.
I think he made a very good impression here.
A great frontman.
Yes, and he made a very good impression. He said some very interesting things, and he was very charming, and we're very pleased to be here after him.
400,000 fans are expected to cram onto a number of sports fields on the grounds where the Stones concert is taking place.
And that's your entertainment for tonight. After the break, Louis with your detailed weather forecast.
Hello everyone, time for a check of your Saturday's weather conditions, and there are going to be showers and thunderstorms affecting the central parts of the country. Those are going to spread further eastwards but also clear as the day goes on. At the same time, there'll be morning rain along the west coast. That will affect the Old Mutual Two Oceans Marathon in the morning. Things will clear up in the afternoon, but by evening the cold front will be making landfall. That's going to be pushing in over the southwestern Cape. Some very wet weather settling into that area late on Saturday. A quick take a look at your provincial forecast. KwaZulu-Natal will be hot for the northern part, dry along much of the coastline, but for parts of the interior and in the south, a couple of showers and thunderstorms will be possible. Some wet weather in the forecast for the Eastern Cape, mainly in the morning, but it will be dry for Port Elizabeth and Grahamstown, where temperatures will reach the mid-20s. There we can see the wet weather in association with the approaching cold front. A cloudy day for Cape Town, a high of only 20 degrees. Oudtshoorn, on the other hand, will reach a high of 29, where it will be mostly clear and dry. Light rain or drizzle in the morning for Springbok as well as Calvinia, and over the opposite side of the Northern Cape, a few early thunderstorms will be possible for Kimberley as well as towards De Aard. Showers and thunder showers for the Free State spreading across the province, but things will clear up by evening, and we're expecting similar conditions for the northwest. Showers will clear by afternoon over Vryburg, reaching Zeerust later on, but Rustenburg should be dry. A warm to hot and dry day for Limpopo, 33 as a high for Lephalale and Musina, and we're also expecting a dry Saturday for Mpumalanga, and temperatures will rise above 30 degrees for the Lowveld. A pleasant afternoon for Gauteng, 26 degrees as a maximum for Johannesburg, while Pretoria reaches a high of 28. A look ahead to Sunday, and the cold front will bring in cold air across the western interior of South Africa. Sutherland at 14 degrees. Showers will still be affecting Cape Town. And by Monday, it remains hot and dry for the northern parts of the country. Things improving over the Western Cape, and a few showers expected for Durban and Richards Bay.
A recap now of your top stories. President Jacob Zuma calls on Christians to pray for government leaders to govern well and behave appropriately in office. Questions are raised over household security after an alleged intruder is killed by dogs in Cape Town. And that's a wrap from the eNEWS Direct team. Up next, Rhythm City. To share your views, remember you can send an email to enewsdirect@etv.co.za or chat to us on Twitter and Facebook at eNEWS Direct. For now, good evening.